All right, we are live for our Sunday special, Sunday usual. Hold on, I got to mute for 1 second. I got to take a call. All right, sorry about that. Just had to take that quick call. All right, I'm back. How's everyone doing? How is the weekend going? Of course, please let me know where everyone is chiming in from. Always love to hear that. Yeah, it is a nice view. Let me get back to that. Sorry. We can do that for you. And I'll hop up in your left corner there. It is a really beautiful day today. Really nice. Water's pretty, I'd say it's pretty calm out here. I don't see anybody complaining. Of course, we got to watch out for the rain, but fingers crossed. Hopefully we started early enough and we can get in a good session this morning, this afternoon. A few things that I want to talk about and bring to everybody's attention that I thought was interesting, and also relative to our discussion here, and also what we, I guess the mandate, if you will, of the channel, or at least what it is right now. So, of course, again, like I said, please let me know wherever you're chiming in from. Always love to hear cities, countries, towns, villages, where everybody's from. I always think that is cool. Hey, Ocean, chiming in from Ottawa. Hey, Suzette, afternoon. Nice to see you. Afternoon, Chelsea. Thanks for chiming in. Shayna, always nice to see you. Hello. Kevin chiming in from Toronto. Good to see you, man. Kess, how you doing? Oh, are you running Berlin next weekend, man? Awesome. Best of luck to you. That was my first major marathon that I ever ran. First marathon that I went sub 3 hours on. So I don't know if that's your first time going to be doing sub 3 hours, or going for sub 3 hours, but wishing you the best of luck. I'd say my mistake with that marathon, and I guess many other marathons, is that I was in the wrong corral. And so I had to do a lot of zigzagging in the marathon. So I would say if you can get there a bit early into your corral. And my mistake also was that I was using the porta potty bathrooms, like when you go into the entrance where the runners are separated from the spectators. I went to like the first porta potty line. Every rookie goes there. Don't go to the first line. There's probably hundreds of porta potties. Go all the way to the back. Do this for every race, especially major. Never go to the first set of porta potties, and go to a further one back. The line is going to be a lot shorter, and then you'll also have some time to get to the start line. There also, pro tip, there is, I forget the name of their park, but it's like their Berlin Central Park, but it's on the way to the corrals. But if you want, that's another place that a lot of people pee. Sorry, everybody, if that's not runners that is hearing this, but that is like a pro tip. Like on the way, like if you need to pee again, of course, it's for dudes. You can do that on the way to the start line, and then try to stay with the pacer. The 3-hour pacing group is, if you get there. The pacers that I had, this was 2018. They were really good, and I passed them at mile 22. That's when I knew I was going to break 3 hours. So enjoy that. I think that was my favorite marathon. The crowds are awesome. Music pretty much all the way through. And, run that negative split, go out slow, nice and comfortable, and then gradually speed up in the second half. Sorry to talk about running, but once you get me going, There's no stopping. So best of luck to you. Let me know your bib number so I can track you. I'm tracking a bunch of people. So if you can shoot me an email, and I would love to track you. Just throw it in the chat, and or if you have your bib number now, just throw it in the chat, and I'll follow you. I'll track you next weekend. Best of luck again. Sherry Young says, beautiful weather weekend, chiming in from Cincinnati. Awesome. Marie D, good morning. Shayna, of course, in Atlanta, Georgia. O'Neill, Kalawana in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Awesome, O'Neill. Welcome. Thanks for joining Max and Relaxing. How you doing? Chiming in from North Carolina. Oh, your first marathon. Awesome, Cass. Awesome. You got it, dude. You got it, dude. So I would say with the Pacers question, like my coach always tells me, like all Pacers are not created equally. So some of them will run like at a steady pace. You know, I forget what the pace is for 3 hours. It's high sixes, 6:53 maybe. You probably know better than I would. But and then some will, you know, have like little surges. Like they're not all the same. But you know, just be in tune with your body. Of course, do the same thing that you've done in your training, as far as like, you know, with your watch and your pacing, and then use that as your guide. But also, you know, feed off of the group that you're running with, and also feed off the crowd, of course, and enjoy it, man. Like have fun. You know, it's 3 hours, but it's gonna go quick. It's a journey, but it's gonna go quick, man. I'm jealous, man. I wish I was there to at least cheer you on. All right, you have a great day too, man. Shayna, I have a running question for you. However, I'll hold off until the midweek show. Okay. Anytime. I encourage any and all running questions, please. Calvin chiming in from VA, Virginia. Northside, what's up? Throp. I'm in Long Beach, California, but Clarendon is home. Okay, thank you for chiming in. Rachel. Oh, I owe you. I saw your email, Rachel. I owe you email. Apologize. I meant to get back to you last week, I should say, but I saw it and I will get back to you. You got it. All right. So I do want to get into like some environmental stuff, but let's go over, I guess, my original agenda before we get into the article I really want to get into. And I sent out an email Friday, and so everybody who like sent me their email address last week up until Friday, you were on that list. You were on the newsletter that we sent out on Friday. But if you sent me, I know a bunch of people sent me their emails yesterday, so I will put you on for this week coming up, and you'll be able to get that newsletter. So yeah, if you send me your email address between yesterday and today, you didn't get the email, and I don't know this email software that well. I don't know how to send like individual emails, but I'll figure it out. If not, expect one on Thursday or Friday coming up. But yeah, thanks for submitting your email. And if there are people out there who would like to be a part of the email newsletter, which is very focused on ThropX, just shoot me an email directly and I'll put you on that list. No problem. Or you can go to thropx.com and put it there. Fill out the form that we have there. Morning, Synthwave. Thanks for joining. Okay, Rachel, you got your answer. Okay, I feel better because I saw it. I didn't want you to think that I was ignoring you. Hello, Kay. Thank you for joining. All right. Do I want to go? Yeah, let's go over this email real quick. Just want to make sure everybody is in the loop with what's happening. So I guess I released another podcast yesterday with St. Alban Clark. This is the one that I've been promising for the last 2 weeks. Finally was able to edit it and upload it. I thought it was, like I've been saying, I thought it was like a very informative sit down with him. He's obviously a very knowledgeable person with respect to real estate in Jamaica. And also, like, even though he's based in Montego Bay, he has a lot of in-depth knowledge with property here in Negril, and he is also going to be one of the speakers at ThropX. And just so far, the feedback that we've received from the video release yesterday, people really appreciated what he had to say, because he went into it's a lengthy one, and but he goes into like the minutia details of what it takes to purchase property in Jamaica, the whole banking process, the getting a loan, what interest rates are currently like, and talking about how you can do it from abroad. And the one part that I liked a lot is that he went through like all the different fees that are not really talked about when it comes to purchasing real estate in Jamaica or property in Jamaica, and goes through each one of them, what the percentages are, there are some like set costs that you have to pay as well, the importance of finding a good real estate attorney. And I always have my recommendation for a real estate attorney as well. Some people have already asked me, and I've shared that information with them. And I think that is like one of the most, and probably maybe the primary step you should be taking, maybe almost in line with finding a good realtor here, is finding a really good real estate attorney. And I will say from personal experience, it's like so important that this person knows what they're doing, the real estate attorney that is. They're competent, one, and then they're trustworthy. And we've had a nightmare situation that me and my family had went through, and it eventually got resolved. But this was like years. I'm talking about, I want to say over 5 years it took us to resolve this real estate land issue that was the fault of the attorney that we were using. Wholeheartedly, like both, we were the buyers and the seller. Both us, the buyer and the seller, were in agreement, and we realized, and good thing we had a good relationship, so that both parties wanted to get to the bottom of this. So that's just from like a personal anecdote and a personal situation that we went through. And sometimes you don't have maybe you're abroad, right? And you're not, somebody who's here that they can deal with and be on the phone, go to the office physically, get paper signed, come back, that sort of thing. And you can't really take those types of risks. So I would say more than anything else, you want to take your time in finding this person. And I know that it can be one of those situations where you're anxious to buy the property and you want to start doing refurbishing or whatever have you. Of course, everybody gets excited for new investments and new prospects of this nature, but finding that good real estate attorney, I cannot recommend that enough. And we will be having already confirmed, like our real estate attorney here at Travelers. He's absolutely amazing, and and she's confirmed for it. I'm really, really excited. And she's the same person that I keep recommending to anybody who comes to me, and work with multiple deals with her. Extremely professional. Never have I ever been like dissatisfied or question anything with how she worked with us, and very like super client focused, like giving us the best advice, and also fought for us and many times with previous real estate deals that we've done here. So we will put out an email probably in the next couple of weeks announcing that. So I'm just trying to do like a slow rollout with different panelists that we have coming up, and then eventually we'll put like a mega list together, probably sometime in October, as a matter of fact, so everybody's aware of who the speakers are going to be. Marie D says you didn't receive. Okay, so you didn't receive your email. You gave me your email. Sorry about that. I will. Can you just email me again your email address, Marie, just so I don't make sure I didn't forget or miss it. All right. Hey, Charlie. Charlie says, bless up from Niagara, but now chilling in Mobay on vacay. Awesome. I hope you're having an awesome vacation. Chris, what is going on? No need to apologize. I appreciate you joining. Says, I sent you an email just minutes ago on the subject of pogging and environmental cleanup. Oh, really? Okay, cool. Well, we're going to get into that. I feel like people have done that before. Yes, people have definitely done that here on the beach. We used to do that in Boy Scouts. I just remember like as a kid. But we did a beach cleanup yesterday, which we're going to get into in a few minutes here. Tom K says, "What's up, Throp? Hope all is blessed. All is good here. Thank you for joining." Kay says it was a good conversation. It is true some bank reps are unresponsive. Yeah, and then also that's another thing. I would say, and then this is going really from the experience that my brother had in his department that he has, and he's doing renting for Airbnb, is that he had to be extremely persistent. And same thing with another friend who bought a property. It's just like follow up, follow up, follow up. But that really is, I would say, a theme of Jamaica, doing business in Jamaica. Like it just is what it is. You know, you just have to keep on following up. And my brother told me, my youngest brother, he was like, I forget what situation he was dealing with, but basically he just put like a reminder in his calendar that every week at this time he's going to call this person. And that's just what it is, like, unfortunately. And so this is why when you do find a professional to work with in any industry or under any need that you may have, it's just like you just automatically bring them in as part of your team, because again, unfortunately, again, most of the people that you work with here, like doing it in the business world, they're not somebody who's going to get back to you, and not the most professional. And that's just kind of generalizing, but that is just been my experience. And to me, the people who do well in this country, they understand that and they're not frustrated by that, but they're just persistent in trying to get what they want, instead of like, hey, I called them, they didn't call me back, so I guess it's not going to work out. No, persistence is the name of the game, and just be patient about it, and just understanding that, like, that's kind of one of my lessons learned when I first moved here. Is just like it took me like over a year to get that, and I was very frustrated by the I would say the lack of responsiveness and the lack of professionalism, because obviously, you know, if you're moving from a different country, as I was moving from New York, you're used to a certain level of service or responsive. I wouldn't even say service, but a certain level of responsiveness in dealing with just any business professional, right? And let's not get into like contractors and day workers, but you know, you would, again, with like a bank person, you would expect they'd be on it, and some are, but many are not. Same with lawyers, same with attorneys, accountants. So that's one piece of advice I would give, is just like, just get ready to just be persistent. But the thing is, like, whatever it is that you're trying to do, it has been done before, so you know it's possible. And don't kind of give up on whatever it is that you're doing, and it'll be worth it in the end. And once you get past it, you'll have a great sense of accomplishment, and your patience will have been extended, and you'll be in a whole nother level of zen, I promise. Tom K says, saying that we have a Jamaican bank in London and we are opening accounts with them for our move back. Okay, which bank is that? I would guess VMBS. I know that is popular over there, but let me know. And I think it's also popular in New York as well. Ray Grant says, good morning, Jamaica Republic. Good morning, Ray. Hello, Ebony. Thanks for chiming in. Hi, Sherry. Good afternoon. Good morning. Chiming in from Vegas. Awesome. Nice and early over there. Thank you, Marie. Pogging has an international presence. Yes, it does. I agree. Joe says, totally agree with the follow-up is a theme of Jamaican business. I guess I may have a bias because I'm used to fast-paced NYC, but I've learned to adopt the JA pace. Yep. That's just what it is. I was in the same boat. Ray, I think you're telling everybody to hit the like button. That's what I'm going to interpret that as. So yeah, everybody hit the like button. Appreciate that. Ray just says that lack of professionalism is going to be my demise. I'm going to take more than a year to get used to that. But I think, you know, you have the self-awareness now, and then like somebody is telling you that, I'm telling you my experience, like, and the expectation, like I didn't have that. So I was just like, I didn't know what was going on and why I was being so frustrated so easily in the beginning. And it just kind of took me, and I was 22. So just didn't have a lot of self-awareness and be able to kind of bring perspective to my here and now reality. And It took me a while to get that, but I think you'll be okay, Rachel. I think you'll be more than okay, and you'll be able to not figure it out, but have it not frustrate you as much. And then also you have, I would say, and this is an extension from me, that you have the extension of, say, my network and being able to work with people that I've worked with that I would say I trust and who are professional. So you won't have to go on this hunt of trial and error, which I had to do and continue to do as I go into new ventures and things of that nature. But it does help when you do have recommendations like from different people who have gone through or something that you are looking to go through, and then you can have those kind of just get past like the silliness of this process of being persistent and having to follow up and follow up and follow up. So, but yeah, no matter what, you're gonna face it. Hello, Donna. Happy Sunday to you as well. Okay, says, I wonder how many deals get lost that way. I'm sure tons. I'm sure tons and tons of deals just fall through. In case says, oh, yes, when I went to open a bank account, the process almost killed me. Yep. Again, these are supposed to be like some of the most professional institutes there is. But again, it is what it is. I don't complain at this point anymore. I'm just used to it. Joe says, I find that the professionals in JA that have the best follow-up have worked abroad. I mean, that's a good observation, but I will also add to that the professionals in Jamaica who are the most professionals, like they win like crazy, because they're doing what many of us would consider the basic, of doing what they say they were going to do in the time frame they said they were going to do it in, and if they miss it because of reasons outside of their control, they will let you know before that time expectation arises. So those are the type of people that you're in my circle. Like you're gonna work with me, or I'm gonna work with you continuously, no matter what. Marie D says, yes, I've heard that about doing business in JA. It never used to be the case. Oh, interesting. Tom K says, is JN Bank in South London. Okay, yeah, Jamaican National. That's another very popular one. Max and Relaxing says, thank you for the reassurance. Some folks will have a hard time with patience. Yeah, I know. I'm a patient guy, but I've been tested multiple times here. My patience. It's not. Kay says it's not patience. It's the professionalism. This is why USA and others in their spot. Safi Anderson says, I don't understand why if customer service is so bad in some is, and it also depends on what you're defining as customer service. If you're saying like speediness and timeliness and moving with a sense of urgency, yeah, that can be tough here for sure. But then there are people who are they're good at their job in terms of pushing paperwork, giving you the correct information, and then guiding you. But sometimes the timeliness of that can be very frustrating and override how good and competent they are at the actual fundamentals of doing their jobs. Donna Bryce says, don't get me started on J Banks. Yeah, we don't want to go down that path. We've done this before. Chelsea Clinton says, it's true, Throp. You have to be careful for the attorney you use to do your business because several of them have been banned by the Jamaican Bar Association. Yeah, there should be a lot more banned. Trust me. Trust me. Shayna Love Coaching says, are there any training/consulting services for companies or small business owners to help them increase the business etiquette or customer service? I want to assess if there's a market. Yeah, there are a lot of services like that. I would say that I know of in the hospitality industry. Like I know a lot of private companies that we have used trainers here at Travelers. Actually all the time. We're using one now outside training. And there's a great need for it. I would also say, and I think some of these companies, a lot of these companies do that. And but a lot of it is not. A lot of it is cultural. Like you're fighting like a lot of things with the culture, and I found that that's what I was fighting when I first moved here. And if you don't come in with a plan and you don't understand the culture, it's hard to combat something that is like so ingrained in the just like the blood flow of doing business here sometimes. So I think there is a need for it. There is a market for it, but it's also like, not making sure, but having business owners have the willingness to put a certain amount of budget or allocation of funds towards that training. But I do think there is a need and market for that. All right. Jacent says, hi, Throp. Greetings from London. The Jamaican Bank in London is Jamaican National Bank located in Brixton, London. Thank you for that. Chris says, Jamaica speed soon come. We can be flexible to a point. Agreed. Yeah, Marie says that's a J&B bank. Safi Anderson says, if customer service is so bad, I cannot understand why it's not improving in spite of feedback from people of every background. Why are we okay settling for so little? We could achieve so much more. Yeah, I would say that, to me, it's like it's competition, right? And I think if there is a company that comes into play, and I hate, we always kind of rag on the banks because everybody suffers that time wasting activity that we go through, whether it's we're going there physically or we're going through the process of opening an account, right? But it's not unique just to the banks, right? And I look at everybody remember cable and wireless, right? Look at that. And so Flow, which is now Flow, and Flow cable and wireless, when I first came here, this was 2006, and it was horrendous. The service was terrible. They were literally the only telecommunication service provider in all of Jamaica, and they just did whatever they wanted. Like when we had a line down, a cell phone wasn't working, everybody, like, they were just like, whatever, we'll come in a few days. Pole goes down. It was the absolute worst situation. And then Digicel came along, and that changed everything because everybody left cable and wireless. It was so bad they had to change their name to Flow because they had to rebrand. Everybody hated cable and wireless because they treated us like garbage for however long until competition came along and they had to level up. And so now they've come around and they finally start giving halfway decent service because they have competition. If there's no competition, like, why would you change? Why would you, if you're making and reaping all these rewards as is, and you don't have somebody who's taking off your plate, what's the incentive to change? And to me, that's like the main thing that needs to happen. So I'll even say, even here in Negril, we like Negril, like restaurants, for example. And if you came here in the 90s, even early 2000s, if you can come here in the early 2000s and you go to a certain restaurant, you're going to be like waiting for your food for an hour. It was just like acceptable island time. It just is what it was what it was. And you get frustrated and you're like, service is slow, island time, blah, blah, blah. And some people were like, island time, whatever, no problem. But now there's so much competition. And then there's also a developed global expectation because we've become more globalized world and travelers go everywhere in the world, that those times for waiting for your food have come down significantly. I mean, and if you're waiting for more than 30 minutes for your food here, and again, I'm speaking specifically for Negril, I'm not saying there aren't exceptions, but the restaurants where you don't have to wait an hour and sometimes more, they do well. And that came from competition. And like, I feel like many of the restaurants who have been here for 5-10 years, they fall within that category and they understand the importance of having good quality food come out in a reasonable amount of time. And to me, that came from competition. And so with say the banking situation. If there is a bank that comes into town, like we have two main banks here, we have Scotiabank and we have NCB. That's all the banks you have in the grill. And of course, if you go to Sav, there's other banks that you can go to in Montego Bay. There's other different banks. But if there's a bank that came here that said, forget all that, we're going to have 50 tellers every day. You're going to be in and out of the bank in 15 minutes. They expedite the bureaucracy of this. But and I'll get into the bureaucracy in a second. But blah, blah, blah. But the point is, if they're a bank that comes across that makes customer service like number one and speed number one, man, forget about it. They're going to win. Everybody's going to move over there. So that's just my opinion. I will also say with the bureaucracy aspect of it, especially like when transferring money, I think a lot of that is outside of the bank's jurisdiction because of the scamming issues that we have here in Jamaica. And like that's also probably why, and I'm not making excuses for them, but even opening a bank account, like you need like so much information and documents. They have to do background check, because they have to make sure, or they try to make sure, because I don't know what's happening because scamming is still at an all-time high. So I don't know what these measures that they're putting in place are actually doing. But I think a lot of it goes back to scamming because they want to do their best to make sure that you or anybody who comes into the bank who's opening in a bank account or trying to do a transfer or whatever have you is not associated with that. So I know that also slows up the process, not making excuses, but it's also a very real it's the reality of doing banking business in Jamaica. And even me, even as an established business person who's been down here for 15, 16 years, I still have to go through that, even opening up a new account. I'm just like, okay. So it goes. Oh man, lots of comments. All right, let me keep rolling here. Carrie promises everything and everyone is slow in Jamaica. It's like their Wi-Fi is Is Fiona supposed to hit Jamaica? Is that the hurricane that's going to Puerto Rico? I'm not sure. Safi Anderson says hundreds of deals have been lost as a result of poor service in Jamaica. Still hot. Can you imagine how much more Jamaica would grow if they got their act together? It'd be crazy, actually insane. Good point. Rockman says, hi Throp, we're back in Canada now from Italy where we closed on a condo purchase. It was supposed to take a few day process, but took the better part of 2 months. Oh, there you go. You're that's almost Jamaica time, but good. Hi, congratulations on the condo. I've never been to Italy, but it's up there on my list. Congratulations. Really happy for you, man. Kay says, Safi, because the demand is high, makes folks stop waiting and see what happens. Marie says, Shayna Love, coach, your business would be needed in Jamaica. Absolutely. I agree with that. JMMB are the best bank and have the best service and best products. And no, I don't work for them. I've never banked with them, but I will make a mental note of that. Shayna says, Marie, well, I need to start brainstorming. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, I think it's a good idea, Shayna. I would look into it, and the need is definitely there. The need is definitely there. Jamaica and Italy have a similar need for follow-up persistence. Gotcha. Okay, say if big banks are so good, how are the scammers getting through? My question exactly. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that. I really don't. Kay says, like someone said, you need hookup for everything. Doctor's office, government, banks, supermarket, taxi, everything. Having links is not a bad thing here in Jamaica. Having links is not a bad thing. In many cases, let me pause right there. I'm not going to go any further. Chris says, some of that culture issues show up in New York. I can imagine. Golby Wendy says, greetings, Throp and J family from Orlando, Florida. Welcome. Sherry says, is definitely the culture. Marie D says, you're correct. The culture has a lot to do with the attitude of soon come. Lorraine 96 Smith says, hi, Throp. I just watched a vlog from a YouTuber who stayed at Travelers. I must say that the young man who showed up in their room was very professional. Travelers looked like a beautiful hotel. Awesome. Can you put the link in the comments so I could take a look at it, or let me know who the YouTuber was so I can take a look at the video? Thanks for sharing, Lorraine. Shayna Love Coaching says it's definitely a mindset shift for the people. However, more of a focus, the focus can be on mindset, helping people see the value in what they add to companies slash people they serve, just a different approach. Yeah, I agree. Chris Charles says, I'm being tested by this conversation, BP going up. Sorry about that. We must improve your user experience. This is essential for international success. I agree. And I sometimes think, and I try not to go too deep down this thought process. Like, man, what can we do? What can I do to like change this and turn this around? But it's like it's so embedded. It's so embedded. It's so embedded. Like, and I'm just trying to think of different aspects of life here and business here. And again, I think the people who are really winning here are just like really professional, and they do the basic fundamentals, and they show up on time. They do what they say they were going to do. They put quality first over everything else. Integrity, leading with integrity. And those are the companies and the individuals who really win here. And if you're a person of that nature, and then could also be strong-minded and has strong-willed that can maintain those principles, you're going to do well. You're going to do really, really well here. And when I say maintain those principles, and it's tough because everything around you in this environment is like, and everything you do is like soon come, meetings start super late. Everything, but if you can just kind of maintain your principles that no matter what, you're going to show up on time. You're going to do what you say you're going to do. You're going to follow up. I think you'll do well here. You'll excel here. Channel of Coaching says competition puts fire under the tail. That's right. I agree with that. Shayna Love Coaching says plot twist. Maybe the bankers are the scammers. It's not my words. Stalin Merkel says, I have a question. How is the geopolitical situation in Jamaica with the North Macedonia? I have no idea. You gotta inform me on that. And I'm not sure what you're referring to, Stalin Merkel. All right. So, caught up on the comments. Let's get into the first, I guess the second topic now of today, or at least the one that I wanted to lead with. And this has more to do with the environment. And yesterday was International Coastal Cleanup Day. And I want to read an article. We're going to get into this in a second, but I thought this was like really good timing. Yeah, I thought this was really good timing based on yesterday being International Coastal Cleanup Day. And so, okay, people are still talking about the banks. We'll get to that and back to that in a second. So yesterday was International Coastal Cleanup Day. And this is like the biggest coastal cleanup day in Jamaica and in Negril. So at NEATS and Negril Education Environment Trust, we do beach cleanups multiple times per year. So that's the team. Oh, there's more people than that, but that's the team who did the beach cleanup. And that was from members of our nonprofit organization, Negril Education Environment Trust. And a big component of our mandate is a focus on the environment. And we do these beach cleanups throughout the year as we I think we probably do about four beach cleanups a year, plus this International Coastal Cleanup Day that we have, and that we collaborated with the Jamaica Environment Trust with JET. And it was started in Texas, I believe, and I forget how many countries participate in it, but tons and tons of countries around the world participate in it. And it's so important that we make this a priority, especially as an island nation, and keeping our coast clean. I should have checked the paper this morning, but I'm sure there are write-ups on different parts of the island doing different organized coastal cleanups. And we're lucky that like everybody, I would say for the most part, there is like a high respect for the cleanliness of the beach. And that is more so, I would say, coming from the private sector, because we are, as hoteliers, as businesses on the beach, we are highly incentivized, I would think, to make sure that we keep our beaches clean and pristine, and we do our best throughout the year. But these pictures you're seeing, this is mostly from the downtown, from the fishing village. It's, everybody knows it's like the worst place. It's unfortunate. Every time we go there, like that's where we focus on our organization, and that's where the most trash is. It's so bad. It's so bad. I didn't put all the pictures here, but it's just really unfortunate. Just being down by the fishing village. Yeah, this is the fishing village there, and I wish they would keep it. I wish they would keep it a lot better than they do, and it's just hard to see that every time that there's almost no improvement down there, or like it's like even though we clean up there every year or multiple times per year, it's like almost like you did nothing. But it's just important that we did this as a group, and I hope some of the people there like feel ashamed, because where they're cleaning up and they're there making their living, and like there's all these plastic bottles and a bunch of stuff that you can imagine that we're cleaning up. And I'm not doing this to shame them. It's more of a frustrating rant, and that I wished in general people would care more about the environment, especially an environment that they earn their living from. But again, this is like one of our things that we do every year. So shout out to all the volunteers who came out yesterday. And it's not just us, not just NEAT. There was a team from Heart. There was a team from JPS. There was a team from TPDCO that was there as well. I have more pictures. I'm going to probably post them on, not probably, I'm going to post them on Instagram. And then also NEAT is going to send them out as well. But great stuff. And it's also very, like, it's inspiring to have the young kids come out, because to me, it's like they're also, and like this is, as Shana Love talks about, a mindset shift. And I think that's important to have with the environment and the relationship that we have with the environment as a country. And it really starts with the youth. And I just remember being a kid in elementary school, that it was not even it was just drilled into our head how important the environment is, and how important it is not to litter, and how bad it is if you litter. And there is like, just under no circumstance would I like ever throw out a piece of paper or plastic out of a car or walking down the street. It's just going to go in my pocket, like no matter what it is. But here, unfortunately, you see, if you're driving behind a taxi, it's not uncommon to see a scandal bag, a plastic bag, being thrown out the window into the bushes. Like that's normal. Like when we do other beach cleanups that we do, we actually go on the road and we clean up. Like, and then when they're cutting the verges and cutting the verges on the road here on North Manley Boulevard, all you see is plastic bottles lined up after they cut all the high grass down. And again, it's just like annoying and sad to see. But to me, how we combat this is through education and environmental education. And if we focus on the kids, and they have this mentality and understanding of the importance of our environment and having pride in their community, they won't be the ones. And I can tell you, none of these kids in this picture, well, I hope that I would never see any of them throw out a plastic bag out of a car. And I would, because they, like, all of these kids, I can at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I think all of them. Sorry, all of these kids have done multiple beach cleanups with us. So every one of them have done this before, and they are part of our organization, and we go through, and we don't force it down their throats or anything like that, but the educational aspect of understanding why the environment is so important is embedded in them. And I would venture to guess that they will not be adults who throw garbage bags out the windows or throws a bottle on the beach when they're walking up, whatever it is. So very good very good beach cleanup yesterday. Great turnout, very well organized. Like, I was super proud to be a part of it. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't do much picking up of of garbage. I was a photographer, and then I had Dallas on, who was a videographer. So we documented the whole day more than anything else. But we were there to support in our way, and I've done many beach cleanups myself, picking up loads and loads of garbage, and I do try to participate, but I also felt like I had an important job to document it and also bring awareness to my platform here, and then also on Instagram and wherever have you, so people are aware of International Coastal Cleanup Day, sorry. And also maybe they'll participate in their own way in the future next year or do their own beach cleanup. So I don't know when our next beach cleanup is going to be, but of course I will announce it here on the channel. Let's get to some comments here. All right. Okay, Chelsea Clinton says customer service in the banks is a microcosm of what is happening in wider society. I think that is a fair statement right there. Ray Grant says practice business the way we practice track and field. Fast. Imagine that if we were as good in business and banking and all that as we were in track and field. We will be top of the world. Tom K says, I wish England would have a national cleanup day that's so respectful. Don't they? I mean, I'm sure there is like, there are organizations, environmental organizations that participate in International Coastal Cleanup Day in England. There has to be. That would be so surprising if there wasn't. So I'm just like looking at the clouds coming in from the north. We always got to watch those, and a little wind is picking up here. Careful. Don't worry, we got a commercial lined up. It's the same commercial, unfortunately. So if you have to pick up and switch and move inside, you guys are going to get the same commercial. Sorry about that. Hadn't had time to film anything this week. Converted Sherry says it's the bank employees and the security guards, especially in gated communities, who are setting people up. Don't know anything about that. Can't speak to that. Globally Wendy says, we would love to partner with you on a beach cleanup. Well done. Florida Realtors does a statewide month cleanup that is positioned to go national. Awesome. Sade Jones says, Jamaica needs to train children from preschool not to throw the garbage on the beach. I was shocked to see people just dropping the garbage on the beach when I was at Frenchman's Cove. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Why? It's so upsetting. Chris PW is the problem that they don't have bins? No. The government actually started a campaign a few years back called No Dirty Up Jamaica, and they put garbage bins all over Jamaica, but especially I know we got a bunch here in the grill on the shared user path downtown, all the way up to I think past Rio on the north, I want to say. But it's not, trust me, it's not through a lack of garbage bins at all. It's mindset, it's mentality, it's a lack of appreciation for the environment and also the impact that an individual has on the environment by throwing garbage out a window or onto a verge or whatever have you. Globally Wendy says the entire month of July, I'm a team leader for that and working to save the Florida manatee. Awesome. Jeff Holman says, what is the Sargasso situation like in Jamaica? I'll be in a grill in December. We're lucky we don't have, it hasn't been that bad for us in the last few years. There was 1 year, kind of when it first started get going, that we had it, I would say, relatively bad relative to what we're used to here in Negril. I believe the North Coast has a bigger problem than we do, like really, really bad. At least whenever, I don't know if it's a season that happens. And so for those that don't know, Sargasso is it's a seaweed that came from the Amazon River in Brazil that's made its way not only to here in the Caribbean, but around the world. And there are some locations around the world where it just completely takes over the beach. So if you can imagine that, like looking at, if you're looking at the beach picture here, if you can imagine that all the way out to the buoys, like that being all seaweed, Sargasso. just imagine that. Like, that's how bad some beaches are. And then pretty much the entire beach that you're seeing there, it's not white sand. It is actually sargasso, like the seaweed. So that's how bad it can get sometimes. I forgot I had a third camera here. Okay, hello. All right, we'll go back. Yeah, so lucky we don't have a huge problem with that, at least so far. Tom K says the community spirit here is non-existent in the UK. It's a work to live environment. Oh boy. Sorry to hear that. Sade says, I think the trash in public areas of JA is because there are not enough trash cans in public areas, plus the trash is not picked up often enough. I will, yeah. We can never not use enough trash cans, at least here. So I will say I'll say one counterpoint and one point to agree with you, Sade. So the trash definitely is not being picked up. Even the beach cleanup that we were doing yesterday, there's a designated area by the beach park for us to throw the trash bags, and there were tons of trash bags before we got there, and we were calling the National Waste Association. I forget. Anyway, we call them the garbage people who come pick it up for a week. Didn't get anything. I don't even think up until now they have picked it up. So the frequency of picking up garbage, like, the improvement needs to be made with that for sure. So totally agree with you on that. With there not being enough garbage cans, I do agree. There can always be more. But when I was in Japan, again, different society, different culture, different mindset. I understand that. But in Japan, it's actually the opposite. It's actually the cleanest place that I've ever been to. I want to say that I've ever been to in my life. I think I can say that. And both the city and in the most rural area. So I went to like two extremes. I went to the most underpopulated prefecture in all of Japan. And then I also went to Tokyo, which I would assume is the most densely populated area or city of Japan. And both places were relatively like super cleanest places, cleanest city place, cleanest rural place. And especially both places was very hard to find a garbage can. And I didn't understand it. And I asked the translator, I was like, why is that? I think he brought it up, as a matter of fact, is like when he first moved there, he was Canadian and he moved to Tori, Japan. And his understanding is that if there is something to be thrown out, the Japanese are going to put it in their pocket to be thrown out when they get home, kind of thing. And there aren't a lot of trash receptacles there. It was hard to find them. And like, that's one thing that I didn't understand, especially being a New Yorker. Like, there's a trash can on every single corner in the city. And there's a recycling bin. They call them Big Berthas, almost on every single corner in Manhattan that you can throw your plastic bottle in. And yeah, Japan was very, very different. But again, they have a very different mindset, and they're very in touch with nature and in the environment. And that is a priority of theirs that is embedded in their culture, and just cleanliness in general is part of their DNA. I say that to say, this is like, hey, if they can develop a mindset and culture of that, why can't we? So I'm not against more trash cans. We definitely need that. Hello, Maya Janae. Thanks for chiming in. HB says, hey, Throp, they should be ashamed. Jamaica like to throw trash anywhere. Yeah, it's really hearing the thunder rolling. It's really unfortunate, super unfortunate that's the way it is. Max and Relaxing, thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Shana Love Coaching says, I used to live in Hawaii, and they have a deep respect and reverence for their land. Aina, is that how you say it? As a result, they have a sense of pride to keep their land cleaned, and people do their part to preserve the land. Yeah, that's what I think too. That's what I think as well. Like, we can develop that mindset for sure. All right, let's go back up real quick. Joe says, does Jay have the bottle recycling machines where you get a dime, like if you find at the supermarket in the States? No, they do not. But we do have glass bottle recycling for Red Stripes. know, I think all glass bottles, if I'm not mistaken, you do get money. I think it's $5 Jamaican you get for each one of them, and you DNG will give you that. Red Stripe will give you that, give you that money. So you're incentivized to do that. So we do that here. We exchange our glass bottles, our Red Stripe bottles, for discounts on our bills that we pay with Red Stripe. Sade Jones asks, what's happening with recycling in Jamaica? Not where it needs to be. Not where it should be. Let's see. Kerry Palmer says, Throp, you are doing an amazing job cleaning up Negril. Someone needs to organize and clean up New York. Thank you, Kerry. Appreciate that. HB says, environmental science is taught in U.S. schools from a young age. Yep. Very true. Sherry Bigham says, if they come up with a recycling plan that people can earn something from, maybe it will start to improve, at least the plastic bottles. Agreed. I think that would work. Marie Brown says, positive movement. Safi Anderson says, anyone caught throwing trash on the streets, oceans, or any public space should be immediately fined 50,000 Jamaican. You soon see how quick things clean up and no one cares about it. More public bins also. Yep, I think that would help as well if there were, I can get into the whole judicial system and the gaps in, what would I say, enforceable consequential punishment, because a lot of it is a joke, and not just on the environmental side, just in general. Converted Sherry says, I remember when my daughter first learned about the importance of recycling, about 8 years old. I couldn't even put a piece of paper in the wrong receptacle. Start with the kids. Absolutely. I feel like I was the same way, holding my parents accountable when I was younger. Good stuff. Sherry Bigham says, don't understand why they got rid of plastic bags and not bottles. Yeah, I mean, if we could force like the bottlers to do glass instead of plastic, I mean, that would make a world of difference. And I know people were upset and still upset that Ting got rid of their plastic. Sorry, they got rid of the glass bottle Tings and went with plastic bottles. And it's just like, man, what are we doing? We're moving backwards here, completely backwards. Anyway, CK Bond 41, what is going on? Good to see you, man. Hi, Throp. I think there should be more garbage bins so people don't have to throw it on the floor. I agree with that, but I think people shouldn't be throwing it on the floor anyway. They got to keep it with them. You know, I like I said, I can never even imagine being out somewhere, even if I'm at a festival, whatever. Like, I will just never throw it on the ground. Like, no matter what, I'm gonna take that with me. Ebony X says, shame them, Throp, shame them. It's the same in New York. People throwing garbage out the car, our apartment window. Yeah, it's disgusting. Marie Brown says, great job, Global Wendy. I am from Florida. Whereabout are you? Would love to be a part. Jeff says, is there a bottle deposit fee in Jamaica? Oh, like I said, only on glass bottles. We got that one already. Shayna. Bray Grant, we have a major problem in BC, Canada. Cruise ships dumping raw sewage in the ocean. That's terrible. That's really, really bad. Kay says, we living in a hamster wheel. We have to make an escape plan to live. Agreed. Chris says, at Throp, Singapore has to be the cleanest population, gets punished there for litter. Yeah, actually, I think Singapore might be the cleanest city. The reason why I said Japan, I remember I was out there with my dad. We were in Tokyo, and we were walking around at night in the middle of Tokyo, and they had like, I remember seeing like these characters. They were dressed up in anime costumes, and I was like, oh, cool. And they were actually there picking up garbage with those garbage pickers, like throughout the city, like cigarette butts, everything, like in this very, very crowded, almost Times Square-ish, more crowded than Times Square, I want to say. I was just like super impressed with that. But yes, Singapore was super, super clean as well. And I believe if they don't have it in place now, they had it before. Like if you throw even your gum on the ground, you can be fined, maybe even jailed. You know, that's how seriously they take their environment there. Ebony X says, I live in the Cayman Island in the 80s, and they have days that they clean up the beach. Yeah, I think that's so important. I think that needs to be regular practice. Sherry Bigham says, if they aren't picking up trash often, the extra trash cans are, I'm assuming, necessary, you're going to say? Shada says the Prime Minister said his goal is to improve waste management. I heard that bought many new garbage trucks, and this will increase the pickup. I hope so. Sherry Bingham says if they aren't picking up the trash fast enough, then that's what they use for the extra trash cans. Some problems. Gotcha. Chelsea Clinton says Jamaica has an anti-litter law, but it is not being enforced. We need to go back to teaching civics in school. And I think, again, enforcements of these laws and also the consequences have to be up there as well. So people are incentivized not to litter. Ray Grant says Canada's super clean. Suki Suki says recycling truck picked up is needed in every community, especially rural areas. Processed plants also. I own yoga pants made from recycled plants. Could be a good business. I think so too. Awesome. Sade Jones says Project Star is also focusing on improving waste management. Ebony X says I've been in certain part of Jamaica and it's clean, no garbage anywhere. Yep, I agree. There are definitely some parts of Jamaica that are pretty that are very clean, not pretty clean, very clean. Suki Suki says just picked up 4 bags of bottles off the beach and nowhere to take them. Not good, not good. Chris Charles says Singapore's punishment is flogging. Yeah, I don't want to get flogged. Sari Bingham says there are glass bottles and aluminum companies the Caribbean government should partner with. Yep, I think that's a good idea. And Ingrid says, hello and happy Sunday from Orlando, Throp. Good to see you, Ingrid. And Kay says, be careful who you admire. Some of those countries are oppressive regimes. All right. Thank you all for the comments. Now, though, this article, it's in line with the environment. And this one kind of got me, this is one that got me upset. So I don't know how many people out there listen to The Daily. It's a New York Times podcast. I pretty much listen to it every single day. It just kind of like, I try not to pay too much attention to the news. Like I don't watch Fox News, CNN, none of that, like at all. Barely read any like news political articles. I mostly do it here to just kind of keep up with what's going on, but I don't get caught up in the weeds. This is like a personal thing that I've learned to appreciate over the last few years, just because I used to, like, especially in college, we just had like, there was either CNN or Sports Center on the TV, like just with roommates and everything. That's just what it was. And you just kind of roll into that same behavior in your 20s and your 30s and on and on and on. And I think me and my brothers, like we all broke that habit. Like we just don't want to be brainwashed, for lack of any other term. So anyway, no news, no nothing. This is like my go-to. And that I find that like that's all I need. And I'm not saying like advocating for them or anything like that, but they do have, say what you will about the New York Times, but their investigative reporting is like amazing. And I don't know of a publication that can rival them. Although I do like Vice, which is not a news publication, but more like a documentary focused production media group. All right. Anyway, so I was listening to their podcast on Friday. This is the Daily New York Times podcast. And they were talking about, and this is the article that I put in there. And we're not going to read it. It's very lengthy, but I put it there. And I think it's quite important, especially as we focus on Jamaica and it's an island nation. And we'll get into a little bit more details on why this is so relevant to what we're doing here. The name of the article is Secret Data, Tiny Islands, and a Quest for treasure on the ocean floor. And as you may or may not know, that there is a huge push for electric cars and getting away from the traditional gas vehicles that we have, that we know that are pushing out the CO2 emissions that is heating up the earth and is really taking and doing a number on the planet. And so they put in and the Biden administration recently passed like a sweeping environmental policy. Like it's so encompassing, right? And a lot of it is incentivizing clean energy, and one of the clean energies being the electric vehicle. And one of the main components of the electric vehicle is these like precious minerals. So cobalt being one of them. I forget them, but I know cobalt is like one of the main ones. A lot of the stuff that, and also like in our phones and electronics, they like it takes like these precious minerals. And essentially, when you look at like the Middle East and you look at the Saudis, they became rich, and the countries that they are based on oil. And this seems to be the next frontier of who are going to be the quote unquote oil barons of the next generation, the next 100 years. And it's not only about who can make these vehicles, but who controls the components in these vehicles. And it was found that traditionally now we do a lot of mining, and Congo was at the center of a lot of this because they are just super, like in the last 5 years or something like that, they found like this massive cobalt mine in Congo. And of course, like all these developed countries come in, are trying to take over and take advantage of these precious metals and these precious mines that have always been there. And unfortunately, these countries don't benefit from this at all. The people don't benefit at all because these outside colonizers, and that's what I'll call it. It's just like modern day colonialism that's happening. And we're going to get into that, like how that is affecting us and also the South Pacific in a second, based on this article. And instead of now doing like this traditional mining, like in different nations in Africa, it was found and understood that many of these materials, these precious metals, can be found at the bottom of the ocean. And there's some like, I forget how big it is, how large it is, but it's like, feel, don't quote me on these numbers, but like it's like 1,500 square miles or square acres or something like that of the Pacific Ocean, where they have these minerals at the bottom of the ocean. And with that, they are doing a study to try to figure out the environmental impact that it is going to have on marine life and the ocean by picking up these materials. So, and it's basically a rock at the bottom of the ocean that is mineral rich, and they have these ships that pretty much pick up these rocks and they pull them up. But in those rocks, there are species that are living in them, living off of them. And the big thing that they don't really understand is the removing these rocks from the bottom of the ocean. When you lift them up, there's all this sediment that goes everywhere, and they're trying to understand the kind of impact that would have on our oceans and the world, and doing it at this mass scale. And how, what's also interesting, little science lesson here, is that they formulate by, like, say a shark's tooth falling at the bottom of the ocean, and after millions of years, like all of these minerals form around it. Like that's literally how it is, though, like without getting too much into the specifics of it, right? And so I'm going somewhere with this. Just stick with me here. And so that's the environmental concern, and like that's what's happening now. And there's this company called, get it right here. There's this company called the Metals Company, based out of Vancouver, Canada, who basically owns as are slash in charge of the largest bed of these precious metals, and they're making a real push for this. And they have scientists on their team, and some of these scientists feel as if they were tricked because they thought they were doing like exploratory research on figuring, and these scientists are, like, in many senses, they're environmentalists, and they're doing this research on finding out, trying to figure out again the environmental impact of taking these rocks up from the bottom of the ocean. And now it's turned, like, in their eyes, it's turned into like, hell, this is a $30 billion venture over the next 25 years. So a lot of money involved. And so how this comes back to Jamaica is that there's this organization called the International Seabed Authority. So I'll read. The International Seabed Authority is made up of 167 member states and the European Union. The International Seabed Authority is mandated under the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea to organize, regulate, and control all mineral-related activities in the international seabed area for the benefit of mankind as a whole. In so doing, ISA has a duty to ensure the effective protection of the marine environment from harmful effects that may rise from deep seabed related activity. And so, in addition to that, so that's pretty much their mandate. So that organization, which was, this is what I guess really caught my attention, like that is based in Kingston, Jamaica. I was like, what? I was like, how is that? So basically, they are in charge of the entire ocean floor of the entire world. That's the responsibility of this organization, and it is based here in Kingston, Jamaica. And so as the podcast goes on, and you know, you'll read it for yourself in the article. A part of the mandate of this organization is to essentially level the playing field of opportunities that are found or could be found on the ocean floor bed for that of developing nations. And it was decided to do that because nobody owns the ocean floor. And if there is opportunity to be made from the minerals that they knew were there on the ocean floor, that it should be these small developing countries that benefit from them directly. And that's how it was organized. And that's what the mandate was. And so in doing so, this International Seabed Authority essentially mapped, maybe not all, but many parts of the seabed that's out there, and to a point of understanding what's there, what minerals are there, what opportunities are there. And this information was meant to be kept secret and in-house and not to be shared with for-profit companies such as the metals company. And so the CEO of this metals company, his name is Gerard Barron, and he's from Australia. And they were somehow, that company was somehow able to finagle information out of the International Seabed Authority to find out where these precious metals are located on the seabed floor. And this information was not supposed to be privy to them. They weren't supposed to have this. And now this company, it's essentially Australian company, Australian CEO, what they've done, instead of having, say, a small island nation like Jamaica, a developing country like this, like have this direct benefit, this company is going to make $30 billion off of this. With what type of environmental impacts it's going to have, we don't know, we don't understand. So what they ended up doing was they essentially partnered with Tonga, and Tonga is in the South Pacific, very close to Australia, relatively close to Australia, I'd say. And I'll read a snippet from the article as it relates to Tonga. The agency's relationship with the metals company has turned the system on its head in other ways. This is talking about Tonga. Developing nations working with the Seabed Authority are supposed to get access to data in certain mining areas before companies do. But the reverse happened. A top executive at the firm got the vital data first, then secured two tiny island nations as sponsors. Even with those partners, the Pacific islands of Nauru and Tonga, which have a combined population of 120,000 and are nowhere near the mining zone, the firm has maintained nearly complete financial control over the project, including rights to all but a fraction of the anticipated profits. So they're earning. So this company, I don't know if it has it in this snippet. This company is basically earning $700 or $800 per ton of this rock that's mined, and Nauru and Tonga are getting $2 to $4 per ton. That's to show you how much they are benefiting from this, which is crazy, like completely exploited. And if you know about the history of Australian colonialism in the region of the South Pacific, this is like the same, in my mind, that is, this is like the same thing that's happening, but in a modern era, in a modern way, like they're fully getting taken advantage of. Anyway, continuing. This company set out to game the system and use a poor developing Pacific nation as a conduit to exploit these resources, said Lan Fostua, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, a former member of the Tonga Parliament. He said he was given less than an hour in 2014 to review regulations the country adopted to join the effort. The government of Nauru and Tonga, which declined requests for comment, have lobbied the agency on behalf of the metals company. In a letter, Nauru's president, Lionel Anjimia, told the agency that the mining would help secure a carbon-neutral future and financially benefit his country. I don't think that's happening. I think we can see that. So anyway, I thought that was something that was important to bring to the attention here. We have this International Seabed Authority that's based here in Jamaica. How much Jamaica is intertwined and deals with this authority, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that relationship is like, but I thought it was interesting that they put it here. And of course, they did it. They put it in a developing country as Jamaica, as they should have. But the article goes into just a lot of, it seems like it's super corrupt just based on this article. And the guy who's heading it is, man, a lot of questionable activities from a financial perspective and how funds are allocated, talking about taking vacation with funds from the organization, from the Seabed Authority. And to me, it's just like, man, this is just another example of modern day colonialism, and this Australian company CEO is completely taking advantage of South Pacific Islanders. Again, between those two countries, you got a combined population of 120,000, and they're a poor country. And of course, they are going to be doing things that they think are going to benefit them. But like when you look at the greater picture, it's just like, man, how could they? Like, that's such a shameful thing to do. And I really hope that international environmental organizations, or international organizations in general, are willing to step up to the plate and do something about this. And they should not be taking advantage of that, and they should not be the ones who are benefiting in it. And as the mandate stated for the International Seabed Authority, it should be developing nations who benefit from what is at the bottom of our ocean beds. And I don't know how this is going to be fixed or how this is going to be turned around, but something absolutely needs to be done about this. And as the mandate says, they should be doing it for the benefit of all mankind. And this company, the metals company, is obviously taking complete advantage of this very small nation and complete advantage of the world. The unfortunate thing about this is that it's, at the end of the day, it comes down to dollars and cents. And people are gonna afford. It's just hard for me to see anything really coming out of this, because we all want electric cars. We know the benefit it's going to have, but this is also, it's going to come with consequences. And as the earth heats up and as global warming becomes more and more real, and as they said was going to happen, we're going to have more and more severe weather happenings all around the world. We've seen and felt it the last 2 years. I mean, we're having these unprecedented weather experiences globally, and people want to do something about it. And if this company can mine these metals from the bottom of the ocean floor, I think people are going to be okay with that. But there should be, and I'm like, I won't say I'm okay with that. I need to go into more detail and find out more information. But if there is a way that this can turn into like having direct benefit to, if it's going to be Tonga and Nauru, whatever, but this should definitely be spread around. And hopefully, I'm sure there are other beds of these precious metals around the world that if this is done again, I'm sure it's already in the works, that there has to be a country or a small island nation, a developing country that gets direct benefits from this, because completely unfair. But I just get very upset when you hear about these global injustices that happens, and how overly blatant the corruption that is happening here, both inside the International Seabed Authority and that in cahoots with the metals company and them taking advantage of this small island nation. And then also it's like, I'm from Fiji, right? Like my mom is from Fiji, my half my family is from Fiji, which is, and can hop into the map real quick, which is very close to Tonga. Very close to Tonga. So let me bring that up, and like, let's, you guys already know, like, I love my maps. So let's bring some context to this, and I'm going to bring up the map so everybody can see where we're talking about here. All right, that's the map right there. And so they say it's about 1,500 miles southwest of San Diego. So San Diego is right there. Oops. San Diego's somewhere. Oh, we're down in Mexico. Okay, San Diego is right there. So, like, you know, I don't know where 1,500 miles is, but I'm assuming it's somewhere in this region. This is where the mining is going to be for those precious metals. And then all the way over here. Oops. So you got Australia over here on the west or the left, and then Fiji. This is where my mom is from. My mom's from here, Sigatoka. That's where she grew up. Shout out to all the Fijians out there. And then here is Tonga. I actually don't know where Nauru is, but it's somewhere over here. I should have looked this up before I came over here. But you get it. It's very far from where this is happening. Yeah, I just think it's really sad. And I mean, good reporting. There's Nauru right here. Okay. Nauru is like northwest of Fiji. Nauru's right here. Fiji's here. Tonga's here. Got it. Okay, we found it. So yeah, I thought that was, something worth bringing up to you all. And it's just important to be aware of what's happening, because this is going to affect all of us. This is going to affect all of our futures and our kids' futures and grandkids' futures, especially when it comes to, electric vehicles. California said they're going to be 100% electric, or you can't sell any gas-powered vehicles by 2035. And so if they're doing it, you already know that other car companies are going to do that as well. And it's important to understand that process of how this is going to happen, and then how and which countries are going to be affected by this, right? Because like the International Seabed Authority said, it's like the mandate is for developing countries like that of Jamaica, like Tonga, like Nauru. It's supposed to be getting the benefit from this, and it does not seem like it is. And it's just so funny that it's like an Australian CEO, Australian company is doing that. I mean, like, who do you think you are? Like, what? That's crazy to me. And it just really angers me, like that again, like such an injustice is just happening in front of our faces. So again, hats off to New York Times for doing this and doing this investigative reporting. Anyway, let's hop into the comments, see what you all think. So Chelsea Clinton says, yes, Throp, it's located in downtown Kingston. I had no idea. Ebony X says, I invest in EVs on Robinhood, Telsa, GM, NIO, Plug Power, Lucid, BYD. I'm in ETF. I don't know too many of those. So I just do, what is it? I forget which ETF it is, but it's a solar ETF, TAN, that's what it is. Shane Love Coaching says the rabbit hole goes deeper. It certainly does. It certainly does. Ingrid says in 2022, our leaders can't figure out how to get their citizens electricity and water 24/7. They can't figure out how to provide their citizens with the basics. Justin D says, bingo. Everything comes down to money. Ebony X says, if anyone here can benefit from the loan forgiveness, don't forget to apply by October 31st. HB says, everyone can't afford an EV car. All the digging to get the material is not good for the environment. Our non-white countries don't like Elon, but he still think we need to use gas. I mean, yeah, like this is for sure, at least right now, this is just going to benefit first world countries, the EV car. I mean, directly, with the tax write-offs and everything like that, you're just basically giving rich people tax write-offs. Is what it is. The common person isn't buying a Tesla. Well, they're coming down in prices, and I hope that continues. But for right now, the incentives are really for, I would say, more well-off people. Joe says the small island nations may not have strong political leadership to go head to head with negotiations with these companies. I agree. And this is how a lot of these countries get taken advantage of, because they don't have those resources or the political leadership and experience to do so, or the leverage. So this is why I think it's important that countries like the U.S., like they see something like this, and the organizations in the country that decide to do something about it, and are the U.S. itself, it's like, yo, this can't happen. So I'm sure there are conversations of this nature that are happening now in the halls of Congress to combat this, because this is just outrageous to me, completely outrageous. Kay says, Throp, I hear you, but the tech behind the EV is involved. With time and brain power, we will move away from these natural resources. I hope so. I hope so. And again, I'm coming at this from two perspectives. One, first and foremost, the finding out the environmental impact of ocean mining these precious metals, and then two, this blatant corruption that we just continue to see. And I just hate to see these small nations get taken advantage of in this way. And it's just ridiculous to me, absolutely ridiculous. So I mean, I hope you're right, Kay, and that we do move away from that stuff. Candice McCallus says, man, that's so crazy. It's unfortunate how greed makes human turn a positive thing into a complete negative. Our move towards eco-friendly alternatives getting overshadowed by corrupt minds. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what this is. And just based on the article, the head of the that's like the metal right there, but the head of the International Seabed Authority, I mean, that dude, I don't know him personally, but just like reading the article, I'm just like, wow, this is crazy what is happening there, especially when it comes to like the finances. Seems like a piece of work, man. He does, at least. Anyway, let's keep it moving. A Hicks, Fijian here, representing. Fellow Fijian. Kay says, better to be colonizer than be colonized. Gas, oil also pollutes. I agree with the gas and the oil polluting. I don't think we should be at this time like a world, our species that has colonizers. Like, I mean, guess we got that going on in Eastern Europe, but come on. Channel of Coaching says, fun fact, Tonga still operates under a monarch, constitutional, just FYI. I did not know that. Ebony X says, I wonder why they chose to come to Jamaica. Yeah, I also wondered why that. Does anybody know that? Why they chose Jamaica? I assume they chose a developing country to put it in, which I think was smart and good based on their mandate. But why Jamaica? I'm uncertain. Good question. Chelsea Clinton says, Throp, the Global Ocean Commission grants licenses for the seabed and mining in international waters, but they are very corrupt. Apparently so. Apparently so. Justin D says, go check out what Australian mining companies are doing in Papua New Guinea. Yeah, another poor country that these colonizing nations are taking advantage of. I don't even need to get into that to know what's going on, but thank you for bringing that to the forum, Justin. Shane Love Coaching says, the only thing with EV, a country has to have the proper infrastructure to power up these vehicles. Yeah, that's a big concern. Even in the United States, it's like having the infrastructure of where your charging stations are going to be and how long and how fast it takes to charge. Apparently, there are like a few Teslas here in Jamaica, and there are EV charging stations throughout Jamaica. I know there's one here in Negril at the Boardwalk Shopping Village, and I know in Kingston they have one at the AC Hotel. So we have a few here. I don't know, but at least, like it makes me think that like that's of course coming to Jamaica at some point for sure. Tom K says, I was watching a program the other day that said for EV to be better on emissions compared to petrol, diesel, it takes up to 90,000 miles for them to be fully more efficient. Interesting. Synthwave says Nauru and Tonga officials were bought off. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. That's, again, really, really sad. Ingrid says, this is not about greed. It's also about people think they are better than others and therefore don't deserve to live a decent life. Yeah, I think this is I agree, Ingrid. I think this is also, it is very much about greed, but it's also, in my mind, about keeping certain aspects or parts of the population at a certain level. And so that they don't become better as a country, as they should be, as Nauru and also as Tonga should be. And they should be having a lot more benefits than this. You know, for the company to get $700 to $800 per ton and they're getting $2 to $4, get out of here. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. They got completely taken advantage of. All right. Asafa Powell partnered with a Canadian company to bring EVs to Jamaica. I wonder where that is. You know, that's pretty cool. Naldo, what's up? Hey, Throp and Throppers, he says. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. All right. So that's the end of the article. Don't really have much else on that. Oh, this one's a little dark. Yeah, just trying to switch up the angles here. Get a couple different looks. Yeah, but that's the last article that I had. Don't have much more to say on that. Again, I just hope again, organizations, other world leaders, other governments do something about this organization, the metals company, and also I'm hoping that the environmental impact that happens with the mining of these precious rocks, that it is made as a priority. You know, what they're going to do as far as making it more of an equal territory, an equal platform, if you will, and to benefit all of mankind. I don't know who's going to do something about that, but somebody should. Stanley Franklin says, happy Sunday, Throp. You can also set up a charging station at home. I know 3 persons that with charging stations at home. Is that here in Jamaica, Stanley? But yeah, I'm aware of that. I know people who have charging stations in the U.S. who have Teslas. Chris PW says, at Tom K, just watched a guy in Jamaica. He has his house and car covered by EVs. So we have solar panels here at Travelers, but it doesn't cover the entire electricity. It doesn't cover everything that we need. We definitely need more. But I do believe that we're going to definitely have electric cars be more part like a regular thing here in Jamaica. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens in the next 5 years. Not surprised at all. Ingrid says, Throp, that's one of the reasons why Africa is still behind. Majority of their resources is not in their control. It's definitely a race thing. 100% agree. 100% agree. Like this is going back to slavery days. It's like the same thing, modern day slavery, modern day colonialism. And it's to me, I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm not of that mindset, but it's just like so blatant and in your face what's happening with this stuff. Channel of Coaching says, if the government benefits favorably in any way, they may not do anything about it, unfortunately. Man, I just hope in that case, I hope they get pressured by the international community to do something about this. I don't know if they're receiving, I was going to say about, holding back aid and stuff like that. But then at the end of the day, when you do stuff like that, it's the people who suffer. It's the regular everyday Joes who suffer when that stuff happens. So again, I don't know. I'm not some sort of geopolitical scientist by any means, but I do know that what's happening is not right and it's unjust and something should be about it. Stanley Franklin says, yes, in Jamaica. Okay, cool. That's pretty awesome to know. So Stanley, with that, what I always wondered is like people who have Teslas now, what happens when if you were to get in a car accident or need some sort of hardware repair, like who's going to do that? There's no Tesla garage. I don't know any Tesla mechanics or electric vehicle mechanics in Jamaica. So I just always wondered that. I know you can obviously, we have internet here. Like if you needed like a software update, you can get that easily, obviously beam down from satellites or into Wi-Fi, and they could fix things like that. But just always wondering, you blow a tire out, you get it into a fender bender, who's going to fix that stuff? That's just something that I'm curious about now, since there is no Tesla repair shops here in Jamaica. King Naldo says, what is ironic is that the World Seabed Authority is headquartered in downtown Kingston, Jamaica. They are in charge of all mining of the world's ocean. Yeah, that is extremely ironic. Extremely ironic. Ebony says Asafa is involved with flash motors. Got to look that up. Channel of Coaching says, I think the citizens of those countries realize their worth/value of what their country offers. They could be the ones in power selling their resources rather than foreigners outsourcing their resources. So what I'd imagine that they're going through is that they have immediate debt. I was going to say desperate, but they have immediate needs, and they look at this opportunity with a company like the metals company as a way to solve those immediate needs. And if like the basic, I don't know the situation in Tonga or Nauru like at all, but I'm just just to say like a general developing country, maybe their citizens don't have the most basic things, and funds from an opportunity from a company like the metals company where they can get immediate satisfaction and resolve those issues immediately. And then also, of course, there are political components to that, where the country's current power, they are looking for opportunities to make themselves look good, and they're for giving direct benefits to their citizens. And if they are able to, fortunately, maybe even sacrifice the future of their country in a big way for an immediate satisfaction that the citizens may not even necessarily fully understand, then they'll do it so they can get reelected and maintain that power. And so I'm sure a company like the metals company understands that dynamic and understands that mindset, and also just the need and want for power. and they take advantage of that. I think that's what happened here. But if there could be the leverage gains are understood, if that country can understand their leverage, then to your point, Shayna, they can really, really benefit. And then also, if you have somebody a leader that can really communicate the long-term benefits of, say, hey, we're going to hold off on this $1 billion here so we can have $10 billion in 10 years from now or 5 years from now, I think that'll also help. Justin D says, so there's often quoted Bible verse that's usually quoted the wrong way. Money is the root of all evil. Nowhere in the Bible says that. What it says is that the love of money is the root of all evil. Preach, Justin, preach. Money makes the world go round. And I used to be one of those people that was like, I don't care about money. I don't need money. Like, I lived my life a long time just like that. But then, and I guess it's just like a young person's mentality, or at least that was mine. But I think then as you go through life, you realize that the people, companies, powers that be that do have money, that do have resources, that they are the ones who are not only living a better life, but they're the ones who's changing the world and changing the world for the better for the people that they care about, for their families, for their countrymen and women. And so money is very important, and we got to appreciate that. But we can't, like Justin says, can't fall in love with money, but we need money to get what we need. And we also need money to uplift our own communities and our own citizens. And so my mindset with, and also relationship with money has definitely changed in that regard. Kay says, right, Justin, the love of anything is evil. Shayna Love Coaching says, I can see that perspective. Kay says, again, better to be in control than to be controlled. HB says, the international or environmental community does not care. They just cover things up when it hit the news. They better not cover this one up. At least I'm not. All right. Okay, that is at least a wrap for me on that one. Keep the questions coming if you have them. Just want to touch on Throp. Okay, Candice got a comment here real quick, and then we're going to ThropX. Candice McCullough says the Jamaican government is offering a lower import tax on EV, and 5-year car license break will assist in meeting the 2050 climate change goals. I wonder how much that do you know how much that import tax is? Because I believe the vehicle import tax, I could be corrected on this, is either 100% or close to 100%. I mean, and Tesla's cost, I think you can get a Tesla for the 35,000 US dollars now, I believe. Don't quote me on that. HB says most black leaders don't care about their people. They only follow the money. I wouldn't say just black leaders. I would say many, many political leaders, as a matter of fact. I mean, we see it all the time in the US. I was going to state a certain person's name that is the head of either the Senate or Congress, but I won't say where their mind is as far as it goes with investing. My dad said to stay away from political topics, so I'm going to stay away from political topics. All right, King Naldo, whichever dealership you purchase your EV in Jamaica is authorized to repair all 4 motors running each wheel. There are codes that are unique to Tesla, so do not have your peeps attempt repairs. Yeah, definitely I wouldn't bring my Tesla down to the guy up on Big Bridge in Little London. That's for sure. Good point. Ingrid says, those who have money control those who don't. Exactly. Throp, what's up? Countries do have jurisdictions over the ocean floor in their territory. Throp, no more Complaining about Negril not getting the development attention a lot is on the way for Negril. Yes. It seems Negril is going to pop. Seems like Negril is going to pop and pop very soon. I was actually sent a, hold on. Actually, I wasn't sent. So there is in today's Gleaner, this is a big sign. So NEPA put out career opportunity applications are invited. This is in for jobs in the Gleaner. Says the Negril National Environment and Planning Agency career opportunities applications are invited for suitably qualified persons for the following positions on the IWECO National Sub-Project Monitoring and Evaluation Officer, Technical Officer for Negril. Details are available at the agency's website, www.nepa.gov.jm. Applications must be submitted by mail to that email address no later than Friday, the 23rd of September, 2022. It says managing and protecting Jamaica's land, wood, air, and water, an agency of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. So when you see a job request, a job posting of that nature, and you need to go through anything that you're doing with development wise in Negril, you got to go through NEPA, or in Jamaica, you got to go through NEPA. So if they're looking for a technical officer for Negril, that says a lot. That says a lot right there. So good point, Alfonso. And I'm going to continue to monitor this and keep everybody up to date with what's happening with that. And people are starting to realize Negril's potential. And obviously this has been brewing for a while. And I think we had something to do with that, right, everybody? Kay says, as in rhymes with pansy. Okay, so you all know who I might be referring to. Maybe or maybe not. Maybe or maybe not. Shannon Love Coaching says, trying to tame your tongue. Yeah. I know my dad is watching. He was even mad. He gets mad at me for like little things. Like when I have to use a bathroom and telling you guys, he's like, why are you telling these people that you have to go pee? Why do you have to let these people know you're eating fried chicken? So he's like, why are you talking about politics? So he's always giving good advice. So he's right. Kay says, Pansy folks, it is sheer greed. Crazy greed indeed. Justin D says, destroying the environment of this planet is not really a political topic, even though it's made out to be. It's a survival topic because we don't have anywhere else to live. Good point, Justin. Great point, Justin. Can't agree more with you on that. Candice says the import duty tax on EV was reduced to 10% from 30%. Not sure about other custom fees that apply. Awesome. That's good to know. That's really so 10% on a electric vehicle. That's really good. That's really good. I think that's amazing, actually. Rachel says, yep, all because of you, Negril to the world. Thanks, Rachel. Is your mom watching with you? If she is, hello. Yeah, my dad's a funny guy. Shane is laughing. And so is Sherry. But he wasn't laughing. He was like dead serious. It was like in a family meeting. Mai says, Uncle Mitch. King Naldo says, Alfando, yes, each country has jurisdiction over their waters, but every nation needs authorization from the World Seabed Authority in downtown Kingston to mine or explore those waters. I do believe that is the process protocol. Ebony X says, your dad is smart. He knows how politics goes in Jamaica. Yep. And in the U.S. And both, both, I have to say. Man, I hope that music is not being picked up because we are going to get demonetized. Rachel says, hell yeah. She waved at the TV to you and said hello. Awesome. Chris PW says, drop your dad not sleeping. No, He's on it. He is woke. All right. Want to hop into just a couple of ThropX announcements, are not really updates. It's just more planning. Like literally every week is just logistics. A few more people book this week or last week, which is awesome. I would say there's still hotel rooms available. So if you want to stay here at Travelers, we changed it on the website. You, instead of booking, I mentioned this before, we had a booking issue with booking through the ThropX website. So now if you want to book a hotel here, you send an email to reservations at TB Resorts, and you can book your room with us. And we still have rooms available for ThropX. We are going to be putting up the price $100 mid-October, October 15th, October 10th or 15th. I forget which date, but mid-October, the price is going to go up $100. And because and I've been saying this before, like I don't want to have like a massive amount of people for this. And I really do want to keep this like super intimate and more focused on the quality of the panelists, quality of the conversations, and also the quality of the people coming, network you all. And it's really exciting to the people are continuing to book. And we're gonna, again, the price is gonna go up in about less than a month. So just keep that in mind if you're considering joining ThropX in November 10th to 14th, and to learn about investing in Jamaica and real estate in Jamaica. We're going to have 2 days of panel discussions about doing that. And we already have confirmed 2 real estate professionals. I have a real estate lawyer confirmed. There was great interest in agro business, doing farming in Jamaica and the business of farming in Jamaica. I got, to me, the best farmer that I could have possibly gotten, who is doing really good business in Jamaica. That is Martin. And I'm going to try to say his last name. He's from Austria, and he is CEO and founder of Austrojam. And he's going to be the main speaker on doing business in Jamaica in farming. So if you are at all interested in that, he is definitely the person to speak to. He is super passionate about farming in general, super passionate about farming in Jamaica specifically. So that is one of the persons that I'm very excited to be coming aboard. And that came from you all. That really came from you all. That wasn't even something that I was thinking of, and multiple people had asked for it, and I did my best to deliver. Justin, thank you so much, my man. $22 for 22,000 subs. I hope it keeps going up. Awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate that so much. Yeah, we're almost there. Ebony X says, your father seems like a very proper gentleman. Thank you. I think he's watching. So you hear that, Dad? Ebony X thinks you're a very proper gentleman. I think he is too. CK Bond 41 says, Jamaica doesn't have the infrastructure for implementing electric cars. Yeah, it's definitely not there. Definitely not there yet. I think what's going to happen is like what's happening now. You're going to have like private facilities that are going to have these electric charging stations, like the Boardwalk Shopping Plaza, which is 24 hours. You can go there. And then like AC Hotel, which is 24 hours. You can charge your car there. But I don't know if you have to be a guest there or not. But I think that's coming. A company actually approached us to have a charging station here at Travelers, but we're not there yet. I don't think any of our guests are driving electric vehicles at this time, but I think that's going to happen at some point. And Ramsey, blessed Sunday to you as well. Ray Grant says, please hit the like button. Yeah, please hit the like button. Definitely helps out a lot. Suzette Belladonna Henry says, at A Hicks from White Plains, any relation to Twala and Kia Hicks? Yes, A Hicks. Any relation? Please let us know. Ray Grant says, hello, Ramsey. All right. I got to turn my mic this way because the music is coming from that away and we do not want to get demonetized, right? Joe says that the agriculture speaker know about leasing your land to farmers. I'm not sure. He would be the best person to ask. So I'm going to try to get him on. I don't think I'm going to get him on a podcast. Like, he's really busy in terms of like coming here to the studio and us shooting a podcast. But I'm going to definitely try to get him on during a live stream. I make sure to give everybody a heads up so you don't miss out, and have him come on and we can have a conversation about. I'll put out a post, and if there are specific questions like this one, Joe, you're asking, we can make that happen. I'll ask him those questions on the live stream. So I'll try to work out which day we can have him come on. It's probably going to be hopefully within the next 2 weeks. You know what? Just thought of something. I'm actually going to an event of his, and we can do it there. Thank you, Joe. You made me think of a very good idea. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk to him about that. I'm going to go to his territory. We're going to do a podcast there, and that's how the introduction is going to happen. Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Chris PW, when is your investment guest coming? It was supposed to be this month, but they were having scheduling problems. I'll put it that way. So before ThropX, that's the best I can promise you, Chris. It's something I'm working on, and I really wanted that person to be the next guest, but we'll try for this week. I already have a podcast lined up for a midweek, but don't have anything confirmed right now. And I know that's something that you've been asking for a while, but it's definitely top of my list. Ebony X says, it's interesting that you had to get a farmer from overseas and not a local farm about farming in Jamaica. I got who I thought was the best. Then this is my relationship. I can get a local farmer, that's for sure. But when we talk about the business of farming, this is like the best that I know of. It's my boys getting out of here. So that is why I went with him. And we can get a local farmer to talk about like the farming and that sort of thing. And then they could be on the panel. I have no problem with that. But if you want to hear about high level farming in Jamaica, high level business, and how we met and how we became friends was, I told the story last week, I was the president of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, the Grill chapter. And then I was also on the executive body of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association for a year. And we developed a really good relationship with each other. And he's like a huge advocate for Jamaica, for farmers in Jamaica. And he just really knows his stuff. He really, really knows his stuff. And if you want to learn from the best, and at least the best that I know of, this is the guy to sit down and listen to, in my opinion. Kay says, yes, your dad will be amazing. Thank you. Cherie DJA says, who's going to pay JPS for that? Need to renegotiate oil electricity prices. Agreed. We need to figure that out ASAP. I hope they are continuing to invest in their infrastructure. And that we can see prices go down, or at least, just to say that, at least become more manageable, because that makes everything expensive. King Naldo says, at Throp, these misguided folks will still complain about the Negril sign is a waste of taxpayer money when it came directly from the TEF. Obviously, a mere $79,000 is less than a $12 million Jamaican. Shaking my head. JMD, shaking my head. Yeah. I agree with you, and I tried to make that clear on the live stream on Thursday that this is not taxpayer money, and I think that's important to distinguish. This is not taxpayer money. This is coming from the Tourism Enhancement Fund, and I think it was money well spent. And it's, again, great scheme of things, $79,000 is nothing. It's a joke when it comes to construction. And I mean, we really got to put that in perspective. And like when we talk about like doing road projects and things of that nature, that can't do anything. Okay, I'm not going to go down that. Not going to go down that route anymore. Andrew Blake, hi Throp. Is there any people being at your event to do with self-sustaining issues such as solar panels for homes and water heater being the price of electricity is such a problem? No, didn't have anybody there. I mean, I do know vendors that sell these products. You know, if that's something that people are interested in, that can easily be arranged. I'm also being careful of who I'm bringing to this thing. So one of my hesitations is construction, right? So I thought it was, especially people are looking to purchase property and build houses, right? And we always talk about the dangers of working with one, like sending money from overseas and having your house built and working with the wrong people. And the wrong people sometimes could be your very family members that you thought you can trust. And they end up taking the shirt off your back on your construction project of your dream home, right? Of your retirement home or whatever it is. And so I'm very careful / hesitant to bring on construction professionals, because the way I look at that is that I am basically bringing on a company or a person that I'm saying like, these guys are good. And there is one company in particular that I want to bring, and they're the best company that I work with. We're actually working with them on a project right now, as a matter of fact, here at the hotel. But it's like giving them that endorsement, right? And then, and like I'm thinking like my hesitation with bringing on like a solar company is like, you know, these guys are salesmen at the end of the day. You know, it's not like these companies are here set up in Jamaica. They developed the technology here and they went to school for this stuff. And I'm not saying they don't know what they're doing. I'm not saying that at all. Not saying that at all. Even our system that we have here is maintained by a local company. They do a decent job. You know, I'm happy with them, but I'm just being careful. That's my point. And if there is an interest in that, we can definitely bring a vendor to here so you can sit down with. You know, am I going to give them the floor? I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But thank you for the suggestion and question, Andrew. I think it's something that I'm definitely going to consider. Candice says some gas stations have EV charging stations. There is one along Constant Spring Road in Kingston. Oh, cool. Good to know. Globally Wendy says, join us in December at Travelers for Reggae Marathon and in Mobay for Global Realtors Conference and Reunion. That's right. Seema on the Move says, very interested in agribusiness. Awesome. Sandra Crossman says, hi, Throp. Very beautiful scenery. Yeah, thank you. It is really nice. And it looks like the rain is going to hold off. That sky cleared up nicely in the north. Joe says, I'm no finance major, but I can't wrap my head around investing in JA Stock Exchange because the value of the JA dollar is so low. Am I looking at this wrong? Definitely. I do think you're looking at this wrong because, as I mentioned before multiple times, that Jamaica was the #1 performing stock exchange multiple years and 2 years in a row recently. And it continues to be one of the top performing stock exchanges in the world. And don't look at it as a dollar. Look at it as like the return on your investment, especially if you're looking at investing in Jamaica. You're going to be fine, because if you're making, say, I'm not saying you could definitely make this, but if you're making 200% on your dollar, and that you on whatever investment that you have in a set amount of time, and then you want to convert that to US, 200% is 200%. How much could you possibly lose on a conversion, right? Yeah, I think you're fine. You know, that don't let don't let that stop you from investing in the Jamaica Stock Exchange, because it's not like in the US you're going to be making, you might be happy with 3%, you might be happy with 7%. Like what people are used to here is like in double-digit returns. And so if you're looking at it from that perspective, you're like from both those perspectives of you're going to be earning a much higher return rate, double digit, generalizing, not guaranteeing. Please, no, I'm not a financial expert, full disclosure. But if you're earning double digit returns and say you lose a percent, maybe 2%, which I think is very, very high on a conversion rate of Jamaican dollars to US dollar. I doubt you'll lose that much, but it doesn't matter. It's a drop in the bucket. And then two, if you're looking to invest in Jamaica anyway, forget about it. That's the way to go. At least that's my opinion. And I'm no financial advisor at all. MEX sounds like JPS overcharged people for electricity anyway, so I'm sure that can handle it. Yeah. Candy says some gas stations. Oh, we already did that. Sorry. Naldo says at Cherie DJA, the EV power cost is minuscule and cheaper than gas, with a mere $20 US bucks per month on average for each vehicle, depending on usage frequency. Justin D, I like how they only fix the roads in JA when it's election time. Yeah, a lot of road construction does happen during election time. Kinaldo says at Justin, they're fixing and building highways presently, and there are no elections. Chris PW, Throp, and no capital gains. Yes, thank you for that. Good point. That's another point, Joe, that Chris brought up. There are no capital gains in Jamaica on stock investments. No capital gains. Whereas in the US, you have both long-term and short-term capital gains. I believe if I remember correctly, Chris, I would think it was Chris, somebody told me that it was 10% for long-term capital gains in the US and 20% for short-term capital gains in the US, and Jamaica has 0. Cherie D says at King Naldo, okay, I was wondering how that factored in, but that's definitely worth it outside the vehicle importation tax costs. Thanks for sharing. Suzette Belladonna Henry says, Negril can certainly use a little sprucing up. Seriously, Throp, you do fantastic work. I'm not going to read the patois. You do fantastic work. I'm putting my forward critical thinking peeps who onto JA to your channel. Thank you very much. Big up the team. Hail Ali. Thank you. Thank you very much, Suzette. Appreciate that. Justin D at King Nando, I see myself when I'm down there coming to JA since the 90s have blown out plenty of tires and then potholes. Yeah. You can get like a SUV or a truck. That would definitely help with those potholes. Howard McCaden says, with all the jobs that are remote these days, if Jamaican made it real easy to get work visa or permanent residence status, I'm sure so many people would opt living in Jamaica, work remotely. I agree. And that's something that I don't understand. Is there are other Caribbean countries, other nations around the world, especially during COVID, that gave out these digital nomad visas or citizenships. So it's incentivizing people from around the world to come here and work and live. So I just think, yeah, we should be doing something to attract that type of talent. And it doesn't have to be like in like the traditional way, right? It doesn't have to be like, well, we're giving you carte blanche residence or something like that. But maybe it's like we incentivize it in a way. If you come down here and you start some sort of internet-based business where you hire a minimum of 2 people or something like that, you do it within 6 months, you get your visa to stay and live here for free. I think that's a huge incentive, huge incentive that you're bringing in. You're bringing in brain power, you're bringing in spending capacity, because that person or persons have to live somewhere, they have to pay rent somewhere, or maybe they buy somewhere, they have to pay their electricity, they have to go grocery shopping, maybe they buy a vehicle or rent a vehicle. And then you also incentivize entrepreneurship, and you incentivize them setting up a business here. maybe there's like some sort of coach that helps them, that works at Jam Pro, that helps speed up the process. I mean, there's so many things that go with that. This is an idea that I literally just came up with on the spot, but I think there could be more incentive for people who are considering or have the ability to work remotely, and maybe that could rival their own situation. And as New York City prices, for those in New York, like there are rental prices are just skyrocketing. They are just at all-time highs now. And if you are somebody that can work remotely and like, hey, I'll give up my apartment, put my stuff in storage, come live down here in Jamaica and pay a fraction of the cost of rent and just living expenses, but I can do my same job, why not? Why not? Peter V says there's capital gains, there's no capital gain tax corrections. Yeah, that's right. That's right. No capital gains tax. Yeah, I don't know if I said that wrong. King Naldo at Sherry D. It's worth it. I'm driving one currently that I charge up at home mostly, and it's a drop in the bucket. Awesome. Cheryl Davis. Well, they have been working on the roads in Portland for a few years, so I'm not sure if it's always set with the election schedule. Good point. All right, I'm going to be taking the last few questions. I got an appointment at 3, and so I got to eat and then take a drive, so I don't want to be late for that. So if you have any other last few questions or comments, I'd be more than happy to take them. We started about 15 minutes late, unfortunately, but any questions that you have, please let me know. I'm going to start wrapping up here. Alfonso Worth says, so what if the Negril sign came from taxpayers' money? Jamaica is a tourism country, and we must spend heavily to enhance the beauty of the country to attract more visitors to the island. I agree. I think that should be the mindset, one. But two, it's also important that, to say, like you said, it wasn't, and if you're going to make an argument of that nature, it's just like, all right, just make sure you know what you're talking about, and that you are, whatever you're stating as fact, it is an actual fact. So agreed with you, man. Chris PW, while most travelers are given a 30-day visa when they arrive in Jamaica, it's possible for a digital nomad to apply for a 6-month stay. Yes, that's pretty easy to get even without that. It's very easy to get. It used to be easier. You used to be able to go down to your local police station and apply for an extension. But now, at least for Negril, you have to go to Montego Bay to get that extension. I forget where you got to go, but I know it's Montego Bay. But yeah, just up until a few years ago, you could just go down to Negril police station, get this paper signed, and you get a 3-month extension. But that's no longer the case. King Naldo said, at Justin, haha, I've blown up my tire fair share when I was there in JA2, but the development of the highways have helped a great deal. Yep, agreed. CK Bond 41 says, Throp, are you going to video your event? Yeah, I have a whole team dedicated to documenting the event. There is also, so I have a team that is purely for documenting video recording the event, and then I have a live casting team. So there will be a live streaming team. So there will be a live stream as well as full-on professional recording, if you will, of the event. So if you, and I keep getting asked this question, if you buy a virtual ticket, you will have full access to all of the weekend, and you will also have full access to the replay. And that also goes for people who are going to be in person. So you'll have access to the virtual live stream and the videos that we create from it. So just keep that in mind, that you have that access to. And like, if you're going to be there, like frivolously taking notes and things like that, you just be assured that you can rewatch whatever presentation that there is, and it'll have good audio and video quality as well. So just keep that in mind. Ebony X says, Throp, I would like to see you visit all 14 parishes. I visited quite a few. I don't think I've been to all 14. I got to look at let's look at the map here. Shouldn't have mentioned the map, because I'm going to bring up the map. All right, where are we? Okay. I've been to a lot. Trying to see where I haven't been. Um, and I consider like not driving through a parish as visiting. I'm saying like, you know, you stay there, you have a meal, maybe do something there. You know, visit like a tourist site. I'm just kind of looking at the map now. I've driven all over Jamaica, that's for sure. All over. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I gotta wrap up. But yes, I would like to do that as well. Rachel A says, great lives as always. I have some of your segments to catch up on. Have a great week to all. Big up yourself, Throp. Thank you, Rachel, and Rachel's mom. Thank you both for joining. I'll see you soon. Justin says, I need to dip out, need to check on football and my game starting soon. All right, man. Good luck. I don't know if you play fantasy, but I hope you get that W if you do. And who do you support, Justin? I'm interested. Who's your team? Jets fan over here, just to let you know. Andrew Blake says that sign shows that you've arrived somewhere rather than that standard tired sign of showing what area you are in or passing through. Agreed. Joe says, great live Throp. Enjoy the upcoming week. Good vibes. Awesome. Shayna Love Coaching says, don't be late for your appointment by getting caught up with the map. Right? Exactly. That would be me. Camille Lewis says, maybe do a blog of visiting 14 parishes video idea. Oh, you're the second person to say that. Agreed. I think that's a good idea. We're going to make it happen. Alfonso Ware says, Negril made a third of tourism income. We must spare no effort in spending to develop our tourism industry in Negril and the wider Jamaica. This is our bread basket. We must invest in it heavily. Agreed. Totally agree. Can't go wrong in that way. Ebony X says exactly and broadcast from there. Thank you always. Okeem James. Sherry Bigham says thank you again for great information. You're welcome. Shayna Love says enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. Thank you all for joining. Suzette Belladonna says at Throp sending waves of love. You're doing an amazing job. Hurry, you're going to be late. You're so committed. Hugs. Thank you. Joe laughing at the map. Thank you, everybody. We're going to leave it there. Always appreciate you spending some of your Sunday with me. This was fun as usual. And we got the live stream coming up again on Thursday. And I'm going to try to get out a video. This is a travel week for me. I'm going to try to get out a video this week, but no promises. We got a lot going on. And hopefully some other announcements on Thursday as well. Talk about the project that I was working on in July. And that's that. Any questions with ThropX or anything, please email me. If you want to be a part of the ThropX newsletter, you can email me, throp@thropmedia.com. I'm going to put that in the comments section here. And I will add you to the list. I do need videos. I have videos. I forgot to put it on, but you got no time. We got to go. All right. I will see you all soon. Thank you again for joining. See you on Thursday at 4. Everybody have an amazing week. Bless.